in a React application that uses the context API. In this case, the context that is being shared is the name and age data. And then I have two components that consume that context. Component A only consumes the name, while component B only consumes the age. Nevertheless, they're both consumers. Both of these components are consumers of the context data. Here we are in the UI. I'm going to change the name from Joseph to George, and you can see that both components are getting re-rendered as a result of both components being the consumers of the context API data. This is actually the default behavior of React's context API, straight out of the proverbial box. Under the hood, which is to say in the React source code, they use object.is for context API to detect changes. So therefore, if the age is different from the name or vice versa, it detects a change and then re-renders. One way to resolve that issue is by doing this. First, we split the name and the age from the same context, making them separate pieces of data for the context. Then I bring in the useMemo hook, which comes with core React, and then we memoize the name and the age individually. Now, I do have a separate video tutorial for React useMemo and memo. Now, each of these two child components, component A and B, gets its own context API data, name for component A and age for component B. And then I wrap both components in the memo higher order function, which prevents unnecessary re-renders. These two memoized components will now re-render only when there's a prop change or a context data change. For example, if the age or the name changes from the API endpoint, only then will these components re-render to match the fresh data. Again, I do have a separate video tutorial on React memoization using both the memo higher order function as well as the useMemo hook with 10-stack query if you wish to watch that. Okay, let's recheck our application in the browser. I'm going to change the first name Joseph to George. As you can see there, only component A is being re-rendered. Okay, see the count there. Now let's change George's age from 25 to 35. Again, as you can see there, only the age component is changing. Component B is changing. Just to verify, George is 355 years old. Congratulations on your long life, George. It's probably from clean living and listening to Taylor Swift every day. One way to think about the React's context API is as a pub-sub system or pub-sub pattern, a publisher-subscriber pattern. The provider itself provides the data, and then the child components subscribe to that data. And by default, it changes or uses the object.is to detect changes. And if you have both pieces of data in the same object, it's going to detect a change in the context API. And so therefore, all of the child component will re-render. So just be aware of that. But I provided you with a workaround and solution to avoid that. Okay, my dear friends, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It is completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. Please give this video a thumbs up or a like if it works for you. If you are watching this video on a different platform, please consider following my channel. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye for now.